When we first wrote the first paper in follicular unit extraction in 2002, our main concern was the fact that as you extracted follicles, some of them would be sheared or shred, and we wouldn't be able to capture the entire follicular unit. Over the years, we've done work to refine this procedure, and this has not only been our work, but the work of many of our colleagues. And what we found that it's if you try to take one instrument to go down over the follicular unit, because the follicular unit splays, because it's like wheat almost, a bushel of wheat, whereas on the surface it's very tight and under the skin it spreads out. Because of this configuration, as this instrument that cuts through the surface of the skin goes deeper, it cuts off the bulbs, or what we call transects the follicles. So what we soon learned was that if you used a sharp instrument to score the skin and go through the top part of the follicular unit, you could then use a blunt instrument that kind of blunt dissects or gathers the rest of the unit without cutting off the follicles, and we call this a two-step technique.